some fast TV, Streets of Rage, the enhanced games, and a review of the indie comic Solar. All coming up on the original Jeek Podcast.
1 2 1 2. I go by the name of DJ What, and you're now listening to the original Jeek Podcast. Let's go.
Ready to make an entrance, so backward cut.
Come on, cut for me.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, slow down. Whoa, speed up.
Fresh.
Yeah, making me itch.
What up, Jeeks? This is your host, the one and only, the original Jeek, RockinMrMagic, back with another episode here for y'all. So, what up, though? What is good with you listeners? I hope everyone is having a fantastic day here on release day. We've got some dope topics I'm really excited to talk about, and they're going to be a little lengthy, probably. I've tried to be good this past couple episodes with keeping my quick hits quick, but we got some a little longer topics this episode. I'm not even going to label them quick hits because I don't think that they all are. So with time and your attention spans in mind, let's jump right into our first segment. What are you PWC? What are you playing, watching, and or creating? So, me, what am I? What am I playing? I've been still playing some Destiny. I have, however, been playing some Street Fighter V. I love Street Fighter. It's my favorite fighting game. Probably the one I'm best at, but that really is Street Fighter 2. Yes, I'm talking like SNES, Genesis, Street Fighter 2. I'm not good at Street Fighter 5. I'm not good at fighting games on these newer consoles. I was still pretty good at Dead or Alive on like PS2, 360 era, but after that I have not been good at fighting games. There's too many buttons. I don't hold the controller the way these younger people do it, with the double trigger. I'm a single trigger guy. I'm old. I didn't come up on the double trigger and holding the controller that way, and I would probably be more effective using a joystick with keys compared to a traditional controller. But because I love Street Fighter and the game was, a PS Plus free game, I have been playing it because I love Street Fighter. And I've been having fun. I'm playing through the arcade modes and various modes, and trying to get better at, learning the moves and, enjoying myself doing that. So Street Fighter V, trying to think, I haven't had a lot of gaming opportunities the past few weeks since I last did an episode. So I can't say I've been playing a lot, but I am trying to progress through, some more Destiny stuff. Had some opportunities, and the community's been active, so I've had thankfully a lot of randoms that have been willing to do some of these harder master level missions to try to increase my my guardian rank, as well as accomplish some of these moments of triumph tasks that I'm trying to accomplish. So yeah, that. It's all been enjoyable. I have been watching some. What have I been watching? Um, Man, I felt like I just watched something that I really enjoyed, and now it's like I'm like drawing a blank for some odd reason. Um, I did rewatch Crimson Tide. I did rewatch that. It's such a great movie. And I rewatched that because of the um, podcast that I was a guest on, the retro movie roundtable. Um, and they didn't tell me when they dropped the episode, so I was just wondering like, is this episode going to drop? And apparently it dropped in April, and I just wasn't aware that they dropped it. They never said anything, didn't email me about it dropping. I would have posted on social media about it when it dropped, and etc. Because I really had a good time talking about Crimson Tide, because again, it's a fantastic film. So I ended up watching the movie when I was looking to see if the episode had ever dropped. And of course, I kept watching because the movie is so good. Man, yeah. Did I don't think I mentioned that on the last episode. Maybe I did. I don't remember. I'm getting old. And I watch a lot of movies. And sometimes the order that I watch them in kind of gets like jumbled in my mind. Especially because, like, okay, so one weird thing about me, I fall asleep with TV on. Generally, well, it's a television on, but I fall asleep to movies. I'll put movies on, especially ones that have fantastic scores, a lot of orchestral music or just really good music. So I fall asleep to a lot of movies. So that contributes to the lack of recollection at times on what movie I have watched recently, because I always have a movie on every day. So, and sometimes I'll just put the same movie on every night, and then I'll, for a few weeks, and then I'll change it to another movie. So recently, like, I've been going to sleep to switching off between like Tron and had a really long streak of The Black Hole, and I've been mixing in some iRobot, and then some like I like to have a more of a light, carefree experience. So I'll put on like Fox and Hound or Robin Hood. Yes, Disney's Robin Hood. The Rescuers. That's a great one. It's got some really good music. Nice, soft, soothing music. So, yeah, it's tough to sometimes recollect the movies I've watched when I have a movie on so frequently. So, creating. Haven't really been creating much outside of this show, which makes me very happy to be creating the show. So that is what I have, PWC. What are you, PWC? Would love to hear what type of activities you are getting into. Share it with us. I love to hear it, whether you are a member of our communities, our Discord, or our Facebook community. There are links to both in the show notes. So if you're not a member of either community, please join us. Love to hear what you're into. We love to interact on anything Jeek related. All right, so let's go. I guess I did label these as quick hits. So let's see if I can keep them quick. But I have two larger topics. So we're going to start with quick hits. All right, quick hit number one. Streets of Rage, the video game Streets of Rage, is being developed for the silver screen. So Sega and Lionsgate have officially chosen the writers for the upcoming Streets of Rage film, namely Josh Miller and Pat Casey. They are the two creators responsible for writing the Sonic the Hedgehog movie franchise, along with, I think it's pronounced James Samuel, who did the Harder They Fall as the director. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's pronounced James. The Streets of Rage movie is, quote, expected to lean heavily into the cult classic game known for its iconic characters, acclaimed electronic soundtracks, and beat 'em up action, end quote. So, as a big fan of Streets of Rage, I own all three of them. I have the Streets of Rage app on my iPad, which I will occasionally jump in and play it. I have, Streets of Rage ROMs when I just want to jump on my computer real quick and play. Streets of Rage is a extremely fun beat 'em up. And seeing it into a movie, I think it'd be cool. Of course, I have trepidation because I've seen what Hollywood did with things like Street Fighter, what they did with Mortal Kombat, especially Annihilation, and of course, what they've done with other video game movies like Super Mario Brothers, from the 90s, Double Dragon, which as a video game in a beat 'em up video game was just a horrific hodgepodge of just terribleness. And I love Mark Dacascos, but the movie was terrible. So I'm hoping Streets of Rage gets the respect and care that it deserves. And it's got to be a bit of a nostalgic movie. So I'm assuming set in the 90s. I'm assuming, like it says, beat 'em up, electronic soundtracks. So I'm hoping that it's going to be very reminiscent of the show. Not the show, of the game. And honestly, I don't think the movie needs to really have a very detailed plot. It really just needs to focus on action scenes. The plot needs to hold together to, save the city, rescue somebody, and it needs to be simple and enjoyable and full of great martial arts beat 'em up type action. And I think just following that simple recipe should yield success. Quick hit number 2. A Fast and Furious TV series is officially in the works at Peacock. Yes, Fast and Furious fans, your things are never too fast or too furious, because while we're waiting for not we, because I'm not a part of that, while y'all are waiting for movie 11, there's going to be a show. Vin Diesel was quoted in saying, for the last decade, we've realized that fans have wanted more. They wanted us to expand the legacy characters, their stories, and for the last decade, the desire has been for us to enter the TV space that Fallon has mastered, and I had to wait till it was right, end quote. Plot details for the show currently are held under wraps, but Vin Diesel has promised that the show will honor the legacy of the films. Right now, Mike Daniels from Sons of Anarchy and Wolf Coleman are going to serve as co-showrunners and executive producers in addition to writing the pilot episode. Vin Diesel will be an executive producer along Sam Vincent via One Race. Quick hit number 3. A Different World will premiere on September 24th. So yes, A Different World, and if you are a fan of it, of the original, you have heard over the past several months that there is a different world is coming back. The iconic 90s sitcom is returning with a sequel series centering on the daughter of beloved Dwayne Wade and his wife, Whitney Gilbert. Her name, the focal point, their daughter's name is Deborah Wayne, played by Malia Joy Moon. The return of A Different World is going to explore the lives and loves of a new generation at Hillman College. And this will take place over a 10-episode season. Joining Miss Moon are Elijah Kai and Shaibu Kim Uche, Cornell Young IV, Jordan Aaron Hall, and Kennedy Reese. There will also be appearances by some known names within the industry, as well as some expected cast members from the past. Notable additional members of the cast are going to be Cliff Smith, better known as Method Man. He will be playing Coach Coles. Norm Nixon Jr., who you may recognize from either Grey's Anatomy or the Miss Pat Show, will be playing Professor Baptiste. And Tashina Arnold from Pam from Martin or In the Neighborhood will be playing Darlene Duvall. Now, I grew up on the Cosby verse of The Cosby Show and Different World. A Different World is special. It is darn near sacred. It needs to be handled carefully and with respect because of how important A Different World is to the culture. For those who don't know, I don't have the exact number. I should have, because I was doing research for this. However, Black enrollment in college, HBCUs, a lot of, but just Black enrollment into higher education skyrocketed because of A Different World. It is such an important part of the culture, and that's why there's such a interest in it coming back. But handling it properly is so important. So thankfully, there are some parts of this news that ease my mind when it comes to the treatment, because these people who are involved are the people that I would expect to treat the property with the respect and reference that it deserves. So returning to A Different World will be original series director Debbie Allen. She is returning as an executive producer and will direct 3 episodes, including the pilot, or the first, the pilot, the first episode. Writers from the original series, let me check my notes here, Reggie Rock Bythewood and Gina Pierce Bythewood. They are returning as executive producers alongside Mandy Summers and Tom Werner. Now, we also have, I mentioned, cast members from the original series that are returning to A Different World. They will be Jasmine Guy as Whitney Gilbert, Kadeem Hardison as Dwayne Wade, Daryl Bell as Ron Johnson, Cree Summer as Freddie Brooks, Ajay Sanders as Gina DeVoe, Karen Molina White as Charmaine, Charnel Brown as Dr. Kimberly Reese Boyer, Jennifer Lewis as Professor Davenport, Dawn Lewis as Jaleesa Vincent Taylor, Glenn Turman as Colonel Bradford Taylor, and Jada Pinkett Smith as Lena James. That is huge. The only name I don't see on here that I can't expect to see on here because, unfortunately, of his medical situation is Sinbad. Hopefully, they maybe even are able to sneak him in somehow. Depending upon how how his health is. It's great to see all of these cast members being a part of this new sequel series. That is, the support is awesome. And I would love to see how they depict those classic characters reacting to how different a different world is now that we are, 30 plus years removed from that collegiate experience. So it's very exciting for me, very exciting for the culture. And if you're a different world fan, I would hope that you are also very excited. All right, that is going to end our quick hits. That hit wasn't as quick, but there is more to it. So we're going to transition to main event, which is generally our main topic. So we got two main topics. So we're going to go to main event topic A here, and that is the enhanced games. Yes, the enhanced games. So if you're not familiar, I'm going to give you a little breakdown of the enhanced games. And I want to shout out to old colleague, friend of mine, Jeff Goldenberg, who had said that he wanted to see something like this years ago when we had discussed amateur athletics and Olympic athletics, track and field, and professional athletics as well. And a lot of the morality and thoughts in sports regarding enhancement. So the enhanced games is as it's described. It is a games where athletes can be using enhancements to hopefully enhance their performance. And this was the inaugural enhanced games. It was held in a open air stadium. It was a one-day competition that was comprised of sprinting, swimming, and weightlifting events that took place in Las Vegas. It not only allows, but it encourages doping. And it paid the kind of money that some athletes that, going through the traditional participating in non-doping permitted events, it could sometimes take years to make this type of money. Some of them 6 figures with top prize money of up to $250,000 for event winners and $1 million for world records, which wouldn't be official world records because it's the enhanced games. But if you set a world record at the enhanced games, you could potentially have a $1 million salary or prize money. So that's big money thrown around. So at these at these enhanced games, a total of 42 athletes competed. And the event has been, especially in, like the running world, the track and field world, swimming, and weightlifting too. The only one in here that really is kind of has a big stigma when it comes to doping that's not in this is like cycling, like Tour de France, long cycling. That's a big doping sport that people really get in their feelings about. But track, sprinting, swimming, and weightlifting are the other ones that are, people get really vehemently opposed to it, or they're just like, here, I'm all for it. And they're also the ones that people have been, it's been there. It's been involved. Like people been getting caught, trying to get away with it forever. It's long histories of athletes getting caught and losing, titles and medals and world records and legacies tainted because of doping. And this enhanced games event is looking to remove that stigma of doping away from these athletes. So the enhanced games is kind of a bit of a lightning rod in the sporting world for those both for and against doping, because partially, I would say, because both camps believe they're in the right. They both think that they have the moral ground, the moral high ground, I should say, the scientific high ground, and the ethical high ground. And they both make their points. I think a poll question this week will be, which side are you on? Are you for doping or anti-doping? I would love to have a follow-up with you all on which side of the doping world you fall on. So let's go into the results of these games. And yeah, it seems kind of tough to call it games. I mean, it's a games. It's just a very small event. Again, 42 athletes. It's not a lot, which is why it was a one-day thing. But it's a start, and no one should be mad at a small start, especially when they're throwing this type of money around and there's 42 people with all this potential money out there. So I will say that before I go into like results here, 42 of the 42 athletes that signed up for the enhanced games, 38 of them elected to use drugs. So you did have some athletes who did not dope. Okay. Notably, doping did not help on the track, where non-enhanced runners won both of the 100-meter races. The winner of the women's winner, Tristan Evelyn, said that her clean victory proved that winning takes more than chemistry. But she did add that she hoped it would not diminish interest in the enhanced games. And by diminish means that a clean athlete won. She's hoping that these games will still grow in popularity. It's interesting that it's interesting. I don't think it's surprising that a non-enhanced runner won, because if the common person may not think that that chemistry doesn't have that a huge role. They may think that, hey, if you take a bunch of steroids, which is just a common term used, that it's going to make you bigger, stronger, faster, and that you'll just be able to dominate against competition that doesn't use that. But when you are an elite athlete, the line of separation is so much smaller, and technique, training, God-given gifts, all those things factor into winning and losing, and just pumping your body full of extra enhancements does not guarantee victory. So it's really interesting that those results went that way. So to give some understanding here, because there are rules to how the doping goes in the enhanced games. You can't just sign up and be like, hey, I take drugs or I don't take drugs. I'll see you at the event. This is very organized and regulated doping. This is not, you're free to your own devices. So as athletes trained in Abu Dhabi, in the UAB, that's the university, the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. This took place in the spring of this year. The games have a medical board, and they began clinical trials lasting more than 2 months to study what was taken and the effects. So the 34 of the doping athletes took part in the trial. 91% of them used testosterone or testosterone esters. 79% used HGH, human growth hormone, and 62% opted for stimulants such as Adderall, EPO, which is, cyclists know EPO. That's a huge one, and that was used by 41% of athletes. And so, as a result, athletes will now be part of a 5-year observation period. So there's, again, not just no one's out here freewheeling and just doing what they want to do when it comes to the enhancements. There's observation and understanding here. There's some science being applied. And you want that when there's this much money involved, And hey, look, the fact is, the money was big enough to draw in people who don't use drugs. So that's huge because, again, it's weird, but you don't get that type of big money from one event in what's called standard track or swimming or weightlifting events or games. If it was just like the Goodwill Games were big again, you don't get that type of money from winning in those events. So that leads to something that's interesting, though, because when you choose to participate in something like this, even though this is the first one, when you make a choice like this, even if you're just like accused and you're falsely accused of doping in a lot of these sports, there is a stain on you that either doesn't go away or takes a while for people to forget that you were accused of doping and proven innocent. A lot of times they just remember that you were accused of doping. So for a non-doping athlete to voluntarily participate in a event that's pro-doping, that can kind of jeopardize not just their reputation, but it could jeopardize their eligibility to race in sanctioned meets. So we have I'll give an example. So one athlete, swimmer from the United States, Hunter Armstrong, was a non-doping athlete who participated. He walked away from the event with a win in the 50-meter backstroke and walked away with $375,000. This occurs less than a year after the global the global governing body of swimming enacted a bylaw to ban athletes, coaches, and officials who support, endorse, or participate in sporting events that embrace the use of scientific advancements or other practice that may include prohibited substances. So there is great risk for athletes who choose to be involved in events like the enhanced games, because you may not be able to compete in non-enhanced events again. And if you have dreams of Olympic gold or winning the world championships, then you have to weigh out, hey, is the money worth it? Now, if the money's worth it, cool. I go get the check. I'm here for people getting their checks, man. If the money is worth it, get the money. Olympic gold ain't gonna happen for everybody. It's not. There are so many sprinters, swimmers. Olympic gold ain't gonna happen for everybody, man. And I'm not saying that to say, hey, just, people should give up. But we got to be realistic as well. You can be a top 1% sprinter and never make the Olympic team because the margin of victory is that small. I mean, 0.01 of a second can separate, first and fourth place in track and field and swimming. Like it can be so close. And some people it just doesn't happen for them, especially on the individual side. Sometimes people who are really good, but don't hack it on the individual races. Sometimes they end up being great members of relay teams, things of that nature, but that's not a guarantee either. So like it's something. It's like you have to count the cost and whether it's worth it for you to pursue, being a world champion or pursuing Olympic glory, or as a athlete, do you want to be a professional athlete on the level where you are okay with being banned from those, official sanctioned events? And if you're okay with that, you can live with that, more power to you. I'm here for it. I'm cool with it. I personally, I didn't come up okay with people doing steroids, or people doing enhancements. I believe in even playing fields. So either you are permitted or you don't. I'm cool with it being separated. So either you permit it or you don't permit it. Now, what I think is a terrible move is the sanctimonious, action taken by the swimming governing body by saying, even if you stay clean and you go over there and you compete, that, we're not going to allow you to participate in sanctioned events. I think that's bull crap. Because if I stay clean and you observe me, you test me, I pass all the tests just because I go and make more money elsewhere than I can make doing your sanctioned events. You want to punish me for that? That's bullcrap. That's terrible. That is a terrible stance by the swimming governing body. I don't know, and I wasn't able to find in my research any stances officially from the weightlifting or track and field worlds. I hope they do not take similar stances, because people need to be able to go out there and earn money. And if there's an opportunity to go earn money as a clean athlete running against enhanced athletes, even if they don't win, if they can go out there and make that money, let them go out there and make that money. They could possibly use that money to eat better, train better, go somewhere and train better. Maybe they can hire, a Kersey to train them. Hire better trainers than what they currently have if they're able to make more money. Just a thought. Just a thought. But again, I would like to know what you Jeeks think of the enhanced games, or more specifically, are you pro enhanced games or are you anti enhancements when it comes to athletics? That is going to be our poll for this week. And that's going to conclude this first main event topic of the episode. All right. The second main event topic is going to be isn't this the first time I've done this? So bear with me. I talk about a lot of different things, and I've reviewed movies and television shows. But this is the first comic book review that we've like officially done on the original Jeek podcast. Even though we've talked comics, like haven't done like a According to Hoyle review before. And I'm honored to do this. I wanted to do this like weeks ago. But I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit nervous because I want to do this right. And I want to treat the writer and the artists, the publishers with the respect that the work deserves and that they deserve. So it took a little longer than I would have liked it to take, but I came up with a format for how I would like to review comics now and moving forward. So if I continue to receive comics from indie publishers and artists and writers like I have, that I can do them also the same level of respect to their work. So we are going to be reviewing two issues. I'm going to give you my review on 2 issues of a comic called Solar the Sovereign. Solar the Sovereign was written and provided to me by author Thad Williams. It is published by Concrete Comics. So little synopsis here. Is that issues, I was given issues number 0 and issue 1. And those issues essentially introduce us to the titular character of Solar. And they lay the seed of a story-wise of his background, origin, and an initial conflict. So I have a couple 5. I do a lot of 5 things. So I have 5 segments that I came up with my review format. And I'm did this way because I don't want to give away too much story. I want to give an honest opinion of the books, but I don't want to ruin anything for you, the listener, and hopefully future reader. So the sections I'm going to talk about briefly here in this review are the writing, the art, the page design, lettering and balloons, and then overall impact. And then after I go over those sections, I will give a rating. All right, so to start, writing. The dialogue of our main character, Solar / Trevin Williams, it actually felt really natural for a Black male who's likely in his mid to late 30s. It just reading it and the conversations that Solar had just felt very natural. Felt like conversations I've heard amongst Black men in life. So I really appreciated the authenticity of the dialogue. The story between issues 0 and 1 they plant enough seeds to pique, at least for me, to pique my curiosity around Solar's origins, as well as superpowered allies, superpowered villains, and then also laid a seed for a villain in the shadows that's unseen and just kind of hinted at. So the writing, I thought, did a solid job there. Then we go to the art. The art is the style it's familiar, and I would say similar to a lot of other indie comics out there. Now, don't take that as a negative. I don't want that to sound negative, because it sounds like, and it gives like the connotation that I'm saying, oh, the art is mid. The art's not mid. just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's bad or average. It's just a familiar style that's being implemented right now. But again, there's nothing wrong with that. And art doesn't have to, you want things to pop off the page and be enticing to the eyes, but you also don't want the art to be too distracting to take away from, the story or have your readers be off of a natural viewing path either. So I think the art did a good job with its style. It's well inked and shaded, and it performs well as a digital product. I read these issues on my iPad, and I imported it into the Books app, and they both read very well in that format. Another thing about the art that I noticed that was kind of interesting that I hope is repeated. In issue 0, our character Solar is doing he's trying to decipher how something took place in like a disaster, and the art, and as he's deciphering it, the art displays periodic table symbols as he's kind of what's the best word? I guess sifting through or determining what chemicals and what chemicals and what items along the periodic table are comprised within the atmosphere area that he's in. So I thought that was really cool. And if there's more use of science in that way, I hope that continues, because I think that adds a little more realism to comic book stories when we're able to throw a little real life application science into things. So that was a really cool artistic choice to show that without making the character say it. So displaying it was really cool. All right, moving on to page design. The page design on both these books, it's solid. I would say there were 2 exceptions in issue 0 where the eye flow felt a little bit off. I didn't naturally flow where it was going. I kind of was like, well, wait, what goes first? It didn't happen much. It happened on 2 action related pages that, but I was able to eventually get to track on far as where it was going. And in the 2 pages it happened on, there was a lot of overlap across the art was kind of segmented, particularly on one, like there's like a part of a panel here, part of a panel here. So it's kind of, the panels were were horizontal, upward angled rectangles, and over 2 of them, Solar kind of was drawn overlapping them. So, and then there was another smaller vertical rectangle over colors in the other corner, and that just kind of threw my eye path off as far as I wasn't sure where things were going. That one even more than the other. The other one really wasn't that bad, but that one really jumped out. I was like, wait, what happened? And then I kind of went back and I'm like, okay, this is where the path goes, and that was cool. But that one definitely felt a bit off. The rest of the layout had a very natural flow and follow, and had good pacing. So overall, outside of that one main instance of being off, the page design was like I said, solid and really a good flow. And I didn't see any of those issues in issue number 1. It was only in issue 0 where I had the one bigger and then the smaller example in issue 0 there. Moving on to the lettering and balloons. Issue 0 had a lot more action than issue 1, so the lettering and balloons vary a lot between these issues. Because of the action, it appears that they used in issue 0 used a lot more balloon styles to prevent repetition of the lettering throughout the action scenes. A lot of lettering involving booms, bangs, a lot of sound from the various parts of action. And so because there was a lot of it, especially in issue 0, just the lettering changed with almost every different sound. So that, again, not a bad thing, but you noticed a lot of these various different letter sizes, letter shapes, sounds that on these sounds to break up to not have a ton of repetitiveness. And I did see some continuity in some ballooning where characters are like kind of pleading for help or crying out for mercy, things like that. There was a particular ballooning and shading, blue shading in that was consistently used a couple times, 2 or 3 times, I think. So there was some repetition, but it was a consistent repetition, so that works because it helps you as a reader understand the tone that is coming from those characters when that's being used. And I think that's tough to do with action sequences because you want the action to feel different as it's moving throughout the page or pages, and depending upon how much action is going down. So I think the lettering overall was good. And then lastly, overall impact. So overall, the 2 issues together, they worked for me. And honestly, it's really simple. The issues worked for me because at the end of issue number 1, I wanted to read more. I was kind of mad, not mad, but I was kind of like, that I had reached the end. I was a little disappointed. I was like, I want to keep going with this. And ultimately, to me, that's the goal of a comic book, is to keep you wanting more, even if a story has reached its conclusion. You want that last page close to still be causing the reader to want to keep going. So issues 0 and 1 of Solar did their job in that aspect. I closed it out wanting more. So in ranking these issues together as one unit, I rank issues 0 and 1 of Solar the Sovereign by Thad Williams, published by Concrete Comics. I rank it a 3 out of 5. Solid issues, solid art, solid dialogue, and it leaves me wanting more. So shout out to Thad, shout out to Concrete Comics. Thank you for the generosity and sharing these issues with me. I thoroughly enjoyed myself reading them. I probably read through them 4 to 5 times, and not just in preparation, but I would say 2 or 3 of them were just for the enjoyment. The other ones were for preparation for this episode, for this review. I definitely encourage you, listener, if you're a fan of indie comics, definitely check out Solar the Sovereign. Links will be in the show notes for you to check out the series and the writer and publisher behind it. So that, my Jeeks, is going to complete this episode of the original Jeek Podcast. Again, I'm your host, the original Jeek, RockinMrMagic, and I cannot thank you enough for supporting this show. Please rate and review the show at your podcasting app of choice. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, which is a personal favorite of mine. We would love for you to interact with us on there, whether it's reviewing or commenting or sharing with a friend, answering a poll question, leaving a comment. Please engage with us there. If you're able to, we would love to interact with you there, or interact with us in one of our communities, the Facebook community or our Discord. All links are in the show notes, or just search Jeek Nation and come hang out. And if you can't find us for some reason, let us know at jeeknation@gmail.com or message us on Facebook at Jeek Nation. And until next time, peace.
Ready to make an entrance, so backward cut.
Come on, clap for me.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, slow down. Whoa, speed up.
This is DJ What, and you're listening to the original Jeek Podcast.